We have all just assumed that the future is going to be digital. Everything's going to be computerized and AI and all of that good stuff. What if it's not? And I'm seriously starting to think that it's not. And no, I have not lost my mind. I can honestly see us returning to analog and mechanical systems. Not for everything, but for a lot. Okay, and it's not because I think we're all suddenly going to become Amish and shun technology. I think the benefits just simply aren't going to be worth the costs of the digital technology. And therefore, we're all going to be incentivized to move away from the digital technology and back to the old mechanical and analog. All right, and yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out here. Okay, I've got an issue I'm dealing with at work, and I'll be real curious as to how familiar does this sound to most of you out there, regardless of what industry you work in. Okay, I work for a large multinational corporation. We make some very complicated, intricate metal pieces that have to be very precise, that go into really important assemblies. Okay, well, at our company, one of the way high ups in IT decided he was just going to stop access to a particular piece of software we use. Okay, so he did, and I can understand the modern management philosophy here. Just cut out access for everybody, and if nothing breaks, then what really wasn't that important. And the people that really need this, they'll jump through all of the hoops necessary to get access to it again, and we'll find out who really needs this, and we'll save lots of money. Okay. Except for it's been 2 months now, I still haven't regained access to it, and I've just given up. I don't care anymore. I'm just at that point now. And as far as the software, it's the software we use to view our blueprints with, our part drawings. Okay, and as for me, I'm a CMM programmer. Okay, now a lot of you don't know what that is, but for those of you that do, you know that's a problem. Okay, this is getting so absurd now. This has just become funny for me, actually. Okay, and for those of you that don't know, CMM's a computer measuring machine. I program those. I'm a metrologist. I measure very precise things, and primarily I do programming now on that. Okay, I need blueprints. All right, so I guess the manager was right, or executive that came up with that, because the work's been getting done. I've been getting the job done, so obviously I did not need to see part drawings. Okay, but here's the thing. The work's had to get done, so it's gotten to where I'm just guessing at a lot of stuff. Okay, when your CMM programmer's guessing at stuff, eventually that's not going to be good. All right, so I'm introducing errors into the system. And not only that, when things aren't right, this is part of quality. We investigate stuff that isn't right. Okay, when things aren't right, I can't pull up a drawing and start going through all of the numbers and figure out what's wrong. Okay, so I'm introducing errors into the system, and I have no way of fixing old errors that are already in the system once they're found. This is going to be a problem one day. Might not be this year, might not be next year. Eventually this is going to be serious. Okay, and I also do calibration. I measure all of their gauges that they use to measure all of their parts with also. Anyway, why would I need a part drawing? Okay, so our company is setting itself up for failure. Someone's gotten lost in the digital world, and they forgot that there's a real world, and there's an actual, it isn't brick and mortar anymore, but steel and sheet metal building, concrete, that they make the parts that actually make the company money. And they kind of need to be right most of the time. Okay, so this isn't a technology issue. It's not that the technology's not capable. It's the people running it, managing it, all of that good stuff. Okay, and we've had issues in the past, smaller issues. Okay, a lot of things that had been gone digital, we've had to revert back to old technology and just writing it down. Just the digital stuff wasn't dependable because our IT is not dependable. All right, and it's bitten us on some small things, and now it's fixing to bite us on some really big stuff. It's just a matter of when at this point. Okay, that's the problem. And keep in mind, I remember way, way back in the olden times, before digital technology, when we had, the blueprints were actually blue. Okay, and then we had copies of those, and they were ugly. But anyway, they got better. And we had large paper drawings, part drawings. Okay, and we'd fold those up, and we'd put them in manila folders, and then we'd put those in file cabinets. We had lots and lots of file cabinets, and all of the folders were labeled with the part numbers and everything in numerical order, and it worked. Okay, the digital stuff came in, and we all thought, hey, this is great. We're saving on storage space, we're saving on paper, it's easy to find stuff, and there were a lot of advantages with the digital technology as far as change management, document management, that type stuff. Okay, so legitimate benefits here. Those benefits are gone now. Okay, right now, if I could fix the system in my department with my company right now, the first thing I would do is order a bunch of file cabinets and folders and get a big printer. We used to use plotters, but the printers now, and just start printing out drawings. I mean, when you've got a manufacturing facility that makes a lot of different, very precise metal stuff that goes together in extremely complex assemblies, they need part drawings. Okay, so yeah, this has gotten that absurd. Okay, and again, I just don't care anymore. That's where I'm at, and I hate to be that way, and I'm doing the best I can with what I got, but I mean, when it gets to the point the company doesn't think we need drawings to make real world parts. And my boss, he's fully aware of the issue. He just recently got access restored for himself to that. So yeah, he's very much aware, but anyway. Okay, that's where the digital's going. It's just turning into a disaster. And on so many levels. It's not just my industry, this is so many industries, and the costs just are becoming to where the benefits aren't worth it. All right, and again, it's not that the technology isn't dependable, it's the people involved in the technology aren't, and we can see this everywhere. Okay, debit cards. How much does that cost all of us every year? And most of you are scratching your head right now. What do you mean? That doesn't cost us anything. Yeah, it does cost us. Every store out there has already built in an extra 3% on the price of everything they have just to cover the cost of the processing fees for the debit cards that the banks all charge processing fee. Okay, for the United States last year, I think it was $31.5 billion that banks charged on processing fees. So that's $31.5 billion that for nothing. All right, now let's go back in time, back to the olden days, and we wrote checks. Okay, it didn't cost us anything to write the checks. There was no charge for that. As a matter of fact, the banks actually used to pay us to put our money in their bank. That's what that interest was they used to give us. But that was before quantitative easing. And anyway, we ain't even going to get into all of that. But, okay, what's cheaper for the bank? Back in the good old times when they had to actually process physical checks are the debit cards. Everything's handled digitally. It allowed them to get rid of a lot of people that used to work at the banks that just processed checks. Okay, well again, they didn't charge for checks, but they charged for debit cards, and it's just because they can. Okay, and I think that's going to end up being the biggest killer with digital technology is just every company out there that makes any software or anything that's digital, they're trying to extort as much money out of all of us as they can. I say extort. I mean, they've got other means, but I was just thinking of all the people with not good intentions out there. How safe is your digital information right now? With all of the hackers and all of the companies that their systems are getting hacked and they've got data breaches, and is your personal information safer now or less safe than before digital technology, for those of you that actually remember the olden times back then, like 20 years ago? Your information was way safer back then. Okay, there are so many people trying to do bad things right now, though. That's an added expense. Okay, so we've got all of the computer viruses and ransomware, literal extortion. You know, pay us this much money or you'll never get your information back. A lot of companies pay for that. Literally, the digital information for the company is held ransom. Okay, so how much is being spent to combat all of the people out there with bad intentions? A lot. Okay, that's adding to the cost. Then you've got the companies themselves. How many of you remember when Amazon was great? You go on Amazon and there's good stuff and you kind of know what the prices are, okay, and delivery's pretty cheap. When was the last time you can say you were really happy with Amazon? And I'm saying this right now as I'm still mad about the charges I've been getting from Audacity, that I finally just swapped debit cards to stop the charges. And I'm pretty sure Amazon was in on that, because my wife started getting the same thing. And the problem with being charged by a company like I was getting charged by Audacity, $14 a month for a subscription I never signed up for. How do you log in to stop it when you don't have an account with the bastards? Okay, yeah, I don't like those people. But she tried using her Amazon login and bam, it let her in. And not only did they cancel it, they sent her money back for so many months. Okay, I don't trust Amazon. And yes, I'm really tired of saying, no, I do not want my Prime account anymore. I don't forget how many times I've canceled that now. I do not want Prime movies. Well, this just seems like it's every company now. It's not just Amazon, it's all of them. They're trying to do absolutely anything they can to squeeze every penny out of all of us that they can. Okay, that's back to cost benefit. The benefits are just getting where they're not worth the costs anymore. And then with the products with Amazon, I haven't been exactly impressed with all of the junk I've seen on there for just about everything I look for now. I've bought very few items from Amazon this year just because it's that bad now. Okay, seeing with everything though, everything seems to be getting worse. So many of the companies now, they've gone to subscriptions. Okay, so I'm doing, for those of you that don't follow the channel, I'm remodeling a house, and pretty extensive remodel. Okay, well, before I started, I thought, well, I need to go on and just get a copy of AutoCAD. I hadn't used it in a long time, and that way I can just go ahead and do a drawing, blueprint for my house, and just help keep things organized. And I work well in AutoCAD, and they've gone to a subscription now. Okay, their software is already antiquated, and now they want you to have a subscription. You can't just buy the software. Everybody's going to that. Everybody that can is going to that, because it costs us all more money needlessly. That's what was driving that IT exec at my company. It's whatever software we were using to view our drawings with, it just kept getting more and more and more expensive until finally he come up with that brilliant solution. Okay, so this is costing companies a lot of money. And then, okay, Microsoft, Teams. How many of you have had to deal with that one yet? It was bad enough, all the annoying emails I used to get, but at least I could just ignore them until a breaking point and then just go check my emails, but that just wasn't quick enough, so they had to come out with Teams, and that's got the instant messaging. And now not only am I interrupted like every 2 seconds over some stupid something on there, when I check my emails, it's all of these notifications that people are trying to reach you in Teams. Your team members are trying to reach you. And it didn't have anything to do with me. But anyway, that's a whole different story. So yeah, it's getting to the point now that I honestly see us going back to mechanical and analog systems if we want something dependable. And it's not going to keep costing us a fortune. Now some things there's not going to really be any way around it. I'm trying to think of what those things might be at this point. It's getting that bad. The software I program my CMM with, okay, the company that comes out with that software, which just about all of them, they want you on a subscription service, a maintenance plan, and then you get the latest version after it rolls out every so many years, and 2 or 3 years, and sometimes it actually has a new feature you use. Most of the time it's just the software's worse. Okay, and the latest version for the particular software I'm using now, it was useless. It made it almost so I couldn't do my job. Okay, and then I called up their people and I'm talking to their programmer, and she's so excited about the changes, and I'm just scratching my head, and she didn't get it. Okay, the changes that they made to the software made the software useless. I'm sure from a just standard programmer standpoint, that was just great stuff, and it's cool, and it was neat. And from a CMM programmer standpoint and a quality standpoint, it made the software useless. It had to do with reporting the data, and the 2 primary functions for quality in any manufacturing facility, at least metrology standpoint, is to get actual reliable measurements and then to record the data. So manage the documentation. The changes that they made it so I had a very difficult time recording my documentation. All right, so she didn't get it though. And that company just completely forgot about the end user. And that's what happens in so many cases. We've got, the president wants this, and the IT guy over here for the customer wants this, and all these people want all of these different things. Till you get to the end user, and everybody just done forgot about them, and at that point the software is useless. Okay, so I see so many things going that way, and it's not going to work. So that's why I think the world very well could be a return to mechanical and analog systems for so many things. Okay, now I know AI is coming. I know it's going to be big. But let's just take everything I just said and apply that to AI. Okay, you've got a bunch of bad people. They've got AI too, and they're using AI to do bad things. So then the people that are trying to do legitimate things with AI, well, they've got to spend a lot of time, money, and effort and computing power to counter all of the bad things the bad people are trying to do. Does it eventually just cancel out AI and make it just not worth it? Okay, and also keep in mind all of the companies that are investing so much money in AI is so they can make money. They're not doing it because they love humanity. Okay, so when companies are out there, they're using AI to try to figure out how to squeeze absolutely every penny out of all of us that they can, just like they're doing now with the just regular software. At what point does it just become not worth using AI? Okay, and as far as all of the potential problems that we keep hearing about that AI could cause, Terminator and taking over the world and all of that fun stuff. Okay, that's only a potential issue in a digital world. What if we just unplug the computers? No more threat from AI. Well, if we're all incentivized to unplug the computers, which we're quickly becoming incentivized to do so. Okay, now there's a lot of people trying to force us to adopt more digital technology, electric vehicles. Okay, that's going to go down as the biggest grift in human history, I think, and I don't say that because I'm not concerned about the environment. I'm very concerned about the environment. We're absolutely just destroying the environment right now. But CO2, it is not the top of my list on things to be concerned about. How about all of the invasive species and then plastics and chemicals and everything else in the environment and soil and water and everything? Anyway, all of the drugs that we're taking that are going into our sewer systems, that are going into our treatment plants, that they're not getting filtered out, and then they're being released into our waterways. They're detecting caffeine in fish now. Anyway, so yeah, I think environmental stuff is something to be concerned about. CO2 is not on top of my list, nowhere near it. Okay, anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but they've been trying real hard to push electric vehicles on all of us. And right now, companies have lost how many billions of dollars trying to pursue this because, not because the customers want it, but because the governments are telling them, hey, do this. We don't care what the people want. Okay, that doesn't work in a capitalist system. Now, maybe they get rid of everything that was analog and mechanical, and we just absolutely have no choice. But the great thing about analog and mechanical, we can build those things ourselves. We don't have to have Acme producing everything for us. And then the government telling Acme what to produce for us, and instead of us choosing with our own hard-earned money that they're constantly inflating away, we're choosing what we want rather than the government. Okay, and we're not even going to talk about digital currency, speaking of inflation. Anyway, okay, so I'll be curious as to hear your thoughts on this. Could the future actually be a return to analog and mechanical? God bless and have a great day.